It is often said that love is the most powerful force in the universe. And yet, for all its beauty and potential, love remains a paradox that can be difficult to grasp. Consider the phrase, "I love you." These three simple words, when spoken, carry the weight of profound emotion and commitment. And yet, how many people can honestly say them and truly mean it? Even more perplexing is how many hear these words, but find it difficult to believe them. Why is that? Why does a simple declaration of love often ring hollow, leaving recipients questioning the sincerity of the person who says it? The answer lies in the profound disconnect between words and actions. In our world, declarations of love are often spoken without the corresponding behaviors that should accompany them. Love is not simply a sentiment, it is an ongoing commitment expressed through actions that show care, respect, and empathy. But too often, those who say "I love you" fail to demonstrate it in ways that make others believe their words. And as a result, doubt is sown, and skepticism takes root. In her book, The Dance of Intimacy, renowned psychologist Harriet Lerner discusses the complex nature of love in relationships. She writes, "The quality of our love is reflected in how we treat those we claim to love. Love without respect is a contradiction, an illusion." Lerner, 1997. This insight speaks to the very disconnect many experience between hearing, "I love you," and believing it. When someone says these words but then acts in ways that undermine the trust and respect necessary for a healthy relationship, the authenticity of the love in question is called into doubt. The nature of hurt in relationships. One of the most troubling manifestations of this disconnect between love and actions is the prevalence of hurt within relationships. How can someone claim to love another and at the same time inflict harm upon them? This question is not just philosophical. It is a deeply personal one for many people who find themselves on the receiving end of hurtful behavior in romantic partnerships, familial relationships, or friendships. The answer to this question may be found in the psychological complexities of human behavior. While not all individuals who cause harm in relationships have diagnosable disorders, many display behaviors rooted in unresolved trauma, unhealthy coping mechanisms, or certain pathological conditions. For example, individuals with narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, often struggle to empathize with others, viewing relationships more as a means to boost their own self-esteem than as genuine partnerships based on mutual care and respect. As Dr. Craig Malkin, a clinical psychologist, explains, people with narcissism often feel deeply inadequate beneath their bravado and hurt others in order to feel better about themselves. Malkin, 2015. Similarly, those with antisocial personality disorder, ASPD, or borderline personality disorder, BPD, may also engage in behaviors that harm their loved ones, often due to a lack of impulse control or an inability to regulate intense emotions. These individuals may lash out or act destructively, even when they claim to love those they hurt. In fact, the very act of hurting someone may be a distorted expression of their need for validation or control. However, it's important to note that not all instances of harm in relationships stem from psychological disorders. Many people, regardless of mental health diagnoses, engage in hurtful behavior due to unresolved personal struggles, past trauma, or unhealthy learned behaviors. For instance, individuals who grew up in environments where emotional or physical abuse was common may unknowingly replicate those patterns in their adult relationships. Dr. Laura Berman, a clinical sexologist and relationship therapist, has written extensively about this phenomenon. She notes, "People hurt the ones they love because they don't know how to express their needs and feelings in healthy ways. They may act out, manipulate, or even lash out as a cry for help." Berman, 2017. This insight highlights the internal conflicts many people face when trying to navigate the complex emotions tied to love. Instead of fostering connection, these unaddressed issues can result in pain and confusion for both the person causing harm and the person receiving it. The cycle of harm across relationships. The dynamics of hurt in relationships are not confined to one specific group or gender. The sad reality is that men hurt women, women hurt men, and both genders can also harm children. The question then arises, where is the love in all of this? How can love coexist with hurt, Psychologist and author Dr. John Gottman, known for his groundbreaking research on relationships, argues that the presence of love in a relationship is not enough to guarantee its success. In his book, The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work, he writes, "The most important factor in a successful relationship is not whether you love your partner, but whether you treat them with respect and kindness." Gottman, 1999. This point underscores the idea that love is not merely a feeling. It is a set of behaviors that must be actively cultivated. True love requires not only expressing affection, but also consistently demonstrating care, patience, and understanding. The cycle of hurt often begins when one person's actions or inactions lead to emotional or physical pain for another. This can lead to resentment, distrust, and emotional withdrawal. When these negative patterns continue unchecked, both partners may begin to question whether the love that once existed is still present, or if it ever truly existed at all. Moving beyond the disconnect. Breaking the cycle of hurt and reconnecting with authentic love requires emotional awareness, introspection, and a willingness to change. In many cases, this means acknowledging the gap between words and actions and actively working to close it. It involves being honest about one's feelings and taking responsibility for behaviors that cause harm. Therapy, whether individual or couples counseling, can be an essential tool for those seeking to heal from the wounds of harmful relationships. It provides a safe space to explore the root causes of hurtful behavior and to develop healthier patterns of communication and conflict resolution. As Dr. Sue Johnson, a pioneer in the field of emotionally focused therapy, states, "Love is a bond that connects us through emotion, and the pathway to healing is through understanding and meeting each other's emotional needs." Johnson, 2008. Ultimately, love is not a static state. It is a dynamic force that requires continuous care and nurturing. It is not enough to say, "I love you," and leave it at that. True love is evident in the actions we take to show up for one another, to listen, to support, and to heal when harm is done. As a society, we must strive to create spaces where love is more than just a word. It becomes a living practice that is reflected in our everyday actions. When we bridge the gap between what we say and what we do, we can begin to create a world where love is not only professed, but genuinely lived.